I'm ready, kids!
Yeah, Captain.
Oh god, I'm so good.
Fuck this up so badly.
Yeah. It was not just me, that sounded horrible there. I mean, I guess it was both of us, but at the same time, I don't know. And
Top-notch quality, people.
Yeah, but hey guys, my name's Bekken and I'm back, as you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see my face again. Holy shit, you guys can say that I haven't shaved in a while. I'm trying to embrace my inner Viking spirit, okay? That's the reason why I don't shave. I want a long beard.
Or is too lazy to, that's also a thing.
Fuck off. So guys, this is my first and ever podcast, and I am here with...
Me! Perverse Domini, also known as Martin. Martin. Yeah.
I almost said it before you said something else. But anyways, I wanted to, first of all, this wasn't my original idea, but I was thinking I do a lot of long videos, I might as well just do a podcast while I'm at it. It wasn't my idea originally. It was a
Why not make a podcast where you rant for hours and hours about the shitty thing?
About something that happened on Star Wars The Republic the other day, and it was it's kind of that. This was where I met this dude as well.
Best community ever.
Best community ever. Best community ever on Discord.
Link in the description of the Discord.
No, dude, we don't want to do that.
Nah, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Just imagine 1,000 people join. Hey, where's Bekken? Where's
Bekken?
And I'm like, I'm here. And they go, hey. Nah, no.
Oh, that would be chaos.
Well, guys, hold on. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. I got a message from someone. Let me just. On the video, it looks like I pulled that out of my ass.
But it also sounds in the audio, so.
Is my audio bad?
No, but you make it sound like it. It is. Audio isn't bad, really. It just made it sound like you pulled something out of your ass.
Yeah, it sounded like that as well, didn't it? I probably did. I'm gonna move a bit closer to my screen so I can see.
Anyway, let's stop fucking around. Let's actually start talking about some shit.
Okay, some shit. Okay, so what should we talk about? I mean, there are several horrible things. Should we talk about what happened with Logan Paul?
Logan Paul. That will be beating a dead horse there.
Yeah, it's probably been discussed too much already by YouTubers that are way bigger than me. But I am going to totally say that it was a sheer thing, and I was planning on making 4 videos dedicated to the subject. Basically, one of the things being I was going to put a video saying that the suicide thingy, and then I shoot a survival video. And then basically, so the survival video is just generally if you go to somewhere like the suicide forest or somewhere that is generally specified as suicide. One thing that I'm going to say in this podcast, if you ever going to go to a place like that or to a forest or somewhere else, have a guy if the name has specified suicide in it, how would you a military guy that have seen a dead body? It's a lot more smarter than not having one. Because
I was more considering bringing out a fat person, because in that case, when there's a bear attack, at least he will be one of saving your life.
That's not bring a gun. And I was going to actually let me bring this up, because I was watching TFIL do it. I watched Raka Raka. I watched Comedy Shorts Gamer do it. I watched a bunch of guys do it actually. Raka Raka was it's a fun YouTubers, but anyways, I think that, and by the way, one of the things that I really hated about this last year, the 2017, was I love the diss tracks that JJ came out with, but I didn't like the other diss tracks that came out last year. I mean, the diss tracks thingy that happened on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I don't get what the hype around that is, really.
Okay, first of all, I love Two Birds, One Stone. That was my favorite one. out of everyone. So many people like Little Boy better because of the, but I like the general beat and how it's going like do 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 do. I like that better. But the general, see the thing is that I was going to like do like a diss track myself, but then I would just feed into the hype. But basically, but this track wouldn't be an actual diss track. It would be me going on about saying that, oh, so let me just be completely like let me not be completely screwed. You guys are fucking. I don't know. You're just bringing this all out of the blue. Like we're all chatting, we're all doing this crap, but I never. Like I don't know. I would figure out something. Like it doesn't just take two songs, and I'm not a freestyler, so I don't know. And I'm more of a dancer than I'm actually a rapper. I don't think I can rap really. So just kind of
Favorite
have
rap.
my
Favorite rap. There's like a lot of good rap songs. There are also a lot of junk ones, like where the music is basically just garbage and the overall lyrics are just. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. Some music is horrible, and like I listened to this song called. Have you watched 22 Jump Street?
Yeah. Oh no, not that song, not that song.
If anyone
Please.
has seen that movie, and like, I'm not talking about I'm dead. I'm talking about you know when they're tripping and you hear the acid titty song. That song fucking knocked me off because that song is so
Uh,
funny. I searched it
I
up. It's hilarious, but I can't play it off here because of reasons.
copyrights.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably one of my favorite songs from movies. Not probably not taking the part of Monty Python really, because I still love the Camelot song.
Dude, I can tell you a lot of other things, but basically, when I say this straight away, if you guys don't have to watch this podcast. It's a podcast for a reason. You can just generally lay your phone down or do something else, and you can just generally just listen to that, and you can just listen to it. It's I'm just showing up my face because of reasons, and
That's just some people like to watch podcasts, some people like to listen to it. So whatever,
yeah, but I'm saying that
whatever floats your boat.
don't think that there's going to be anything special. If there is, I promise you that you will hear it with audio that there's going to be something. I probably will add something to the end of this video, but that's like way ages forward, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyways,
I should probably work on an animated version of my avatar.
oh,
Put it in the podcast.
dude, if you want to make a animated make an animated character, then just literally have him in there. Would be fucking
Yeah, yeah. We'll look into it if I actually can draw.
now I was thinking that we could talk about the general thoughts. Like, see, the thing is that if this was a year ago, I would be taking the crap out of Trump.
But that would be basically beating a dead horse again.
Yeah, I know, but everything is just a dead horse at this point. So I'm like thinking, what could we do? And I was thinking that maybe we should just slap something up and then just really figure something out. And I was thinking,
We could talk about feminism, and then we'll be doing the same thing with like hundreds of
God,
YouTubers too.
yeah, I don't want to talk about feminism again. I mean, that was crazy. I don't know why.
That was a bit crazy.
That was crazy though. I mean, the fact that like I've learned a lot about how generally people feels, and then it was basically when you know what, there are feminists existing in the world and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, okay, why? And then a person told me once that they found life to be unfair. Why?
Yeah, because everything is the fault of overprivileged white males.
Oh, that's exactly what. I mean, if you're a Muslim, please be a feminist because it's actually fair there. If you're a white woman, like, don't get me wrong, if you've been raped or other certain things like that, I don't even want to touch around that subject. I'm just saying.
We can also just lay it down.
I'm just saying, don't blame it because of your gender. It's not gonna help you out. It's not gonna help someone else out. So if you start to take the piss out of everyone else's life, you just be like Apprentice.
Oh, why are we going to start about Apprentice?
I'm sorry, I had to say.
Well, it will be a good subject anyway, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, Apprentice is a good subject. I just figured out there was someone that put out a video on Apprentice this other day, and I was thinking that it was kind of funny because, well, actually, I got the link this morning, actually. So I watched this morning. But my point is that the video was like, wish there was more context to it. I wish that someone would have brought more against them. If you guys know who Apprentice is, you're better off. I'm not even gonna mention what game he's in, but I totally am. But basically, he's this person that generally takes, like, everyone knows what role players are, right? Yeah.
Role players in any MMORPG, if you ever played them.
Yes, if you ever played an MMORPG, it should be obvious to you what a role player is. Now, if you don't know what a role player is, then and you have played MMORPGs your entire life,
Should I
explain?
explain? Basically, it's these low-lifers who act like the fucking characters in our video game, just like us.
Yeah, but basically what they do is that they go around harassing people, bullying people. Now, I've heard a few rumors about Apprentice, and the rumors are that did you ever hear about the rumor about the one person that took his own life?
Oh god.
Yeah, that was pretty horrible. I heard about that, and that really.
I mean, he's a disgusting human being. What can I do about it, really? He's just wasting his time.
See, that's the thing. If you guys, I don't need to mention how I know about Apprentice. If you know Apprentice, you know him, okay? Everyone that knows Apprentice knows him, okay? It's easy, okay? If you play the game that we play and you figure out who he is, then you get it. But
for those who don't know, basically a lot of MMORPGs that are role players, and there's also ERP. And if you know, and ERP is basically the act.
Wait, there's
ooh la la in a video game.
Let's go to watch this. Let's try to describe this in an adult manner so that children won't get this. And it is.
I mean, if they're browsing on YouTube, they'll find out something sooner or later.
Okay. So basically, let me just add this straight away. This is what adults do, okay? And if you're an adult, you understand this. And ask your parents. Ask your parents, okay? Just ask your parents. They'll explain everything to you. And if they say that they can wait until you're older, you're probably better off. Especially if you're 7 years old, you're watching this podcast. Okay.
Or listening to whatever. But big question here for you people: is it okay to put something on YouTube that would make a person feel harassed?
Oh, so you're asking if the subscribers if it would be cool.
It's just a question that you should put in their head for a second.
What question?
But basically, we have a southern person who joined us.
No, he's been here all the time. It's just that he hasn't said anything before now.
Yeah.
And I asked him to join the podcast earlier, so it's no worries. Okay, he's chill.
He's chill.
It's chill. Yeah. So basically, Apprentice. I definitely would say that Apprentice sees that ERPers and role players are the same thing. Now, I want to say this straight away. This is not true. And I want to also say this straight away. That you don't take the piss on people for doing something they want to do on a game at their own free time. You shouldn't question it. Unless it's public, that's a different thing.
Are we doing a podcast now?
Yes, we are. Sorry, we have been started like for a few minutes now.
Well, I will say okay. Anyway, about Apprentice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started about Apprentice.
Well, I try to give him as little attention as he wants.
Yeah, that's what most people do. They tend to stay away from it.
As possible,
and I get that completely.
Well, it's hard to avoid anyone who actually has exploits into the game where you can actually, get into people's private instances without invitations or anything like that, or being in a group.
Well, one of the funny things is I don't understand how the hell he manages to get in a lot of people's strongholds. It's not like I've heard about it. It was a rumor. Like there's a lot of rumors circling him. It was like he was a great guy before all of this, and he made like a lot of friends, and then something happened to him. And once that happened to him, he ended up generally just getting ahead of himself, and then just did a lot of stupid things. I don't understand how Apprentice decided to just start bullying people and doing that stuff.
Well, people believe that Apprentice was an ERPer himself, and he got screwed over by another ERPer, so he thought now that means that the ERP is bad overall. It's just a tool where people manipulate each other with.
But
Actually,
you can't possibly believe that that's true.
I can actually confirm it because when there was a time where Warlord and V came to wine to me. Came to wine to me because he died in war zones a lot, mostly me being the perpetrator. Because he was focused a lot, so he blamed me for it and some voice channel, even though I don't use voice channels for PvP. Unless I have a guild group.
Fair enough.
And he said, and he was actually the one who told me that an ERPer screwed Apprentice over after he tried to befriend me afterwards. Don't ask for logic in his actions because according to his statement he is drunk 24/7. So
Drunk 24/7. I think here's the thing. That's a part where I believe it in, and that's part I don't believe in. I mean, no normal person would actually bother doing it unless you're drunk, high, or
okay, I want to say this straight away. If he's drunk 24/7, then one of the things I'm gonna say
his
is
liver,
he has a fat wallet.
His liver will be fucking the face of Satan.
He's the most impressive lightweight I've ever met in my life. That he can just take a sip and he's suddenly drunk.
Well, I
It's
meant
a very
Warlord,
strong,
so, and you can get cheap beer like Nitrate and it still fucks you up.
Yeah, it still does, but it's still gonna cost you. Like if you're drunk every single day, meaning like most people that like the most extremist of lightweights I've me and Matt take 6 beers. Like 6 beers to get drunk. Most, and I'm talking about me in general as well, because I'm a lightweight. I nearly never drink, but I still drink.
But I don't drink myself.
Yeah. But my brother, he takes around 12 to 15 beers to like generally get drunk. Now I don't mean the big ass like the cans that you can get. I mean the smaller ones. That's the one I mean. The general like small ones that you get like if you're from Sweden, you would like generally buy these Carlsberg thingies.
Well, eventually you will build up a tolerance to alcohol, but
eventually you will build up tolerance, but at the same time it doesn't matter. The point is if what you're saying is true, he must have gotten a high tolerance as hell. I think it was something scientifically proven that the tolerance thing is a bit of a myth, but at the same time, it's something I don't know. I don't want to get in on that.
Well, I don't know the effects of being drunk really, but I don't think you could type nearly as good as he does when he's ranting on general chat or something like that.
Actually, you could be surprised. I mean,
It is possible. I saw people going on about that, and then when it was mostly my roommate, and then when I talked to him, he was out of it.
What?
He was totally out of it. I personally don't have any experience getting drunk because I have a very high tolerance to alcohol.
I don't drink. That's.
I can drink 4 shots of vodka and still be alright.
I blacked out.
The Russians would respect you.
And it's like I blacked out on a bottle of Jägermeister. Yeah, it was like my brother decided to shank me with a bottle of Jägermeister. He literally guys, look at this. He took the bottle, right? He took it like this, and then he decided to take my head up, and then he just went like he did that. Guys could just imagine. If you guys know what Jägermeister is, Google it.
Yeah,
I know. There's even a song. It's a German one, but there is.
I mean, I haven't even touched a single drop of strong alcohol in my life. I have touched a beer once before, but
you're 18, right?
I'm 18, but still.
There's a lot of ahead of you.
I understand why you wouldn't. Wait, hold on. Did someone else join?
No.
Oh.
I heard someone else.
Do keep in mind, people, we're in an open Discord server, so a lot of people can just come.
We've got a lot of people from a guild, and we are generally
people can just come and go into the stream and or podcast even.
But we have a no mic channel, like generally, which if people want to add in or say something during this podcast, they can just add in there. So basically, if they don't want their voice to be heard, You can just type it in. That's how we. That's the reason why.
Bennett will just put it up in post or something like that when somebody says something, or we just read it up aloud.
Like I could make like a random podcast like group on Discord just so that we can do this more often.
I would ask the DM, the staff, for that.
I mean myself that I would do it. I mean.
Wow, yeah.
Like just a server, Discord server that I would do like a bunch of.
All right.
You get my point.
Well, it would be quite handy, really.
Put the link in the. We just have people that I do collabs with and stuff like that on there. That would be a lot.
You can do collabs with. You can also put the link in the description, and then people can just like ask questions during the thing.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
but
you
basically, this makes it a lot more easy for people to generally like if they want to like. Don't get me wrong, guys. If people join in and they decide to just say that you can't put this here, we'll just make a new Discord thingy. But besides that, everyone else is at work right now, so that I doubt anyone else is gonna like switch in and join in. It would just be.
Normally, I'd be past work anyway.
Yeah, probably. But at the same time, let me just have that. Anyways, what were we on about? We were on about.
We were ranting about Apprentice, about him being drunk.
The thing is, no, about Warlord being drunk. I said that repeatedly. Anyway,
I know that Warlord hates ERP because I have actually seen him getting tricked by a bunch of ERPers.
To be honest, Warlord calls everyone he doesn't like an ERPer. I had that experience when he tried to befriend me. We put him in an ops group because at that time I was in the PvE guild, right? Him and one of his friends, abysmal. One of his friends was a tank, that made it even more difficult. The other friend was tolerable. He had average skill, but those guys, they just didn't know how to do the jobs we were doing. I think that was Dread Palace.
Yeah.
So at the time when they had to like do the challenges, they were out of it. To those that don't play Tor, what I mean is that it's a sequence during a boss fight where you have to go to specific rooms depending on your role in the ops, and they didn't quite follow that. Anyway, the thing with Apprentice is that he used to, before people stopped inviting him to guilds, he used to go around team speaks of all the guilds and basically harass people he didn't like. And then he just simply stuck to telling guild leaders they are ERPs. And in the cases of PvE guilds that don't approve or want to hold a fairly good OC reputation, most people were then kicked out of said guilds for ERP.
Well, let's just say that when you're playing this game, you're not gonna have a good time when he's around.
No, you're not, definitively not. I mean, he is not harsh against. Apparently, Apprentice isn't harsh against anyone that doesn't do role playing, which is.
Contrary, I don't do role play, and he hates me.
Okay, then he hates everyone. I don't know.
He says a lot of things and he does a lot of things. I mean, he just makes sexist comments all the day, just for no fucking reason other than just being sexist for some reason.
Yeah, I bet he is a sexist as well. I don't know.
Well, people say he's a 60-year-old man or something like that.
He is an adult because when he put up videos of him going to TeamSpeak channel, so you heard his voice. As far as him being sexist, I wouldn't put it past him because he often uses the term "young lady" as an insult. So everyone he tries to, he basically, when someone puts an argument that works against him, instead of actually having a constructive conversation, he just calls them young lady. And dismisses.
Young lady, should you go back to the kitchen or something like that?
Why did he say that? He said that I swear, I know a few people like he said that to, and I'm like, is that supposed to be an insult? I don't understand that because it doesn't sound like an insult.
He assumes that if someone isn't as aggressive as him, like swearing every 2 seconds and calling everyone an idiot, then he must be a woman. Because to him, the peak of masculinity is going all out aggressive against everyone and making an enemy out of the whole community.
You know, I would have been fine if just feminists and SJWs just started to bombard him, because that would be amazing.
Yeah, dude, I have been at the point where I'm like, I joined, like, whenever I heard that Apprentice was on, I would come on, I would start shite at him. Generally, I would just generally, I'd like, see, the thing is that if anyone that actually knows Apprentice and wants to generally, like, want to battle him in a sense of speaking, or like generally, if you guys join like whatever he's playing and then you just go and then you go and you say, what you do is that you battle him with logic. You never battle him with anger, because if you feed on the anger and then you say something you're not supposed to do, he can film that and he is not afraid to do that, and he can get you banned.
Well, he's also accused of framing people. Like, he goes to other servers, makes a copy of the character of someone else's, and then just lie.
Wait, he does that?
That happened.
Yeah.
Although he didn't do that against me because I don't have names that he could copy. At least I don't use all the. People know I don't use all the servers.
I've managed to stay on this guy's radar. I have occasionally burned him in like general shadow stuff like that, and of course.
That is what I do.
And I did have some threats from some person I'm not gonna say the name of or even talk about, who said like, I'm gonna report you to Apprentice and you're gonna make your game life fucking hell. And
see,
like,
that's the thing. I find that funny. They see Apprentice like a person that they can report shit to inside of because you can't like report shit to Apprentice. Sure, that's a brilliant idea. I'll just report him to the game master.
Well, just report him to the fucking support or something like that. Nope, they don't do anything.
The problem is that with such people, you will always find people that go, oh, but he's all right with me. Well, okay, he's all right with you. That doesn't excuse what he does.
No, it never does.
That never does. And people go against like that with many people. Like you have, for example, Ashwalker.
Well, we both know that there are two kinds of people who believe in Apprentice. There are the ones who are like trolls who want to see like, oh, his rats are amazing. That's why I am with him. I don't want them to get away from the game or something like that. And then there are those people who actually believe him.
Well, first of all, one of the things I want to say straight away is that whoever thinks that RP is the same as ERP deserves to just generally, like, go back to school. Just go back to school.
If you really generalize, say, if you use generalization against only one specific thing, then really, you need to go back to school.
Yeah, I'm saying if you are someone like Danielle Bergoli that generally just quit school when she was 13 years old.
Just because someone with a hat on mocked you doesn't mean that every person with a hat on mocks you.
I mean, unless you are someone that is already like 1 million subscribers, aka the people that does the stupid dance thingies. Now I'm not talking about people like Nonstop or Poppin' John or stuff like that. The people that actually dances in their videos, they are cool. But the people that does those musicallys, it's just stupid, in my opinion.
Well, we both know that music videos can be oversaturated at times.
Yeah, sure they can, but at the same time, I don't know.
It really depends on the music video, because some are put well together.
How about
some
actually Miley Cyrus?
Not that kind of thing. I mean, like, you have a video from the song "Welcome Home" from COVID in Cambria. Many people probably know that thing, but there's an anime called what was it called?
What?
Oh, fuck's sake! What was it called? Something about.
Can you tell me what that anime was about?
Basically, you have people that are referred to as contractors. So they gain that amazing ability, superhuman ability, at the cost of doing something in return every time they use that ability, and at the cost of their own feelings. So they don't feel anything; they just go by logic.
Sounds like chess.
That sounds very interesting.
But what was it called? Give me a sec.
That sounds really cool as an anime. It reminds me a bit about.
Are we gonna talk about anime now as a subject? Because I don't mind.
Anime is. I find anime to be amazing.
I find anime
Sometimes
is
it's a bit
fun.
too much.
Ah, here it is. It was called Dark and Black.
Wait,
It's
what
like anime is fun, but there's sometimes those fandoms around them are just fucking weird, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, sometimes it's a bit crazy. Sometimes it's a bit crazy. Like there are some things about, like for example, SAO, for example, or we have the things that happened on what was that series? I can't remember what the anime's name was actually.
Or you can also be an idiot and actually think that what happens in an anime actually happens in Japan. And I like there are people like that, you know.
Oh, they're actually. Oh yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But
They probably have a katana in their room too. It's if you actually do your research on swords, actually a great sword is better than a katana. But yeah,
yeah.
people still think it's the master weapon of mastery.
Okay, one of the things I want to say straight away that one of the first animes I think I saw was like Pokemon. And Pokemon actually is the one, but the first anime movie.
I probably should. Probably everyone will be the very first anime. A lot of people would have probably seen is probably Pokemon.
Yeah, probably. But at the same time, I never liked the Pokemon animes. Like not even the movie.
Yeah, neither did I. I did like to watch it, but it's not.
When I was a kid, I liked it. When I became an adult, I was like, nah.
I was more of a Dragon Ball Z fan myself, so.
I liked.
I'm more of a One Piece fan.
That was really cool.
I find One Piece kind of a stretch. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but one of the things I want to say straight away is that one of my favorite animes was probably like movies was like Final Fantasy VII, the Adventure. I like that movie.
I have seen like a few anime myself, and probably my favorite would be Hellsing.
Remastered.
Yeah, the remastered.
Yeah, unlimited.
I think that my favorite
Abridged.
anime of all time must be like. Oh, this one is difficult.
Sympathy for the person who just joined us, suddenly hearing us talk about anime.
Oh, if Dev joined and heard us talk about anime, that'd be funny.
But yeah, it is Destroyer. Yes, anime. That's the thing.
All right, wait. Oh yeah, hey, Destroyer. We're gonna call her Destroyer from now on. And
Because we have no idea what her name is in real life. So.
Now we don't have any idea what her real name is in real life, so we're just going to leave it like that. People just. Okay, so anime. Basically, I think that my favorite anime of all time must be. If I'm gonna be completely honest, it's a really good. It's a really difficult one to pick.
There were a lot of good ones like Digimon and Dragon Ball Z.
I watched Digimon, but when I became an adult, I stopped watching it. I don't know.
I love Digimon up to the first season because then things got a bit weird to me.
I think that my favorite anime of all time was. It's so difficult, man. It's so difficult. Oh yeah, Death Note. Death Note.
Oh, Death Note.
It's not my favorite. Sorry, I'm trying to think here. I'm like, oh, what was it called? I remember it. It was so good.
What was it about?
Oh, you know, Death Note. Where some guy gets like.
No. The one he means.
It was something else, but I don't remember what it was named. Hold on.
Then what was it about?
Scroll through my mind.
Ultimate Rainbow Adventure 64 or something like that.
No, it was not that. Oh.
So what was it about?
Let me think. Let me think for a second. I'm trying to figure out what it was about as well because it's like it's there. It was one of the first animes I saw, and it was so good because I started watching anime because of Lost Pause, and he's a great YouTuber. If anyone wants to get into anime, he has good selection. Oh yeah, yes, My Love Story. That is my favorite anime of all time. I don't know why. I just like the shit out of it. No,
never heard of.
Well, whatever you float your boat, really, because there is.
It just makes you feel all good inside in general. It was just, it's so like that. Like My Love Story centered around.
Well, a lot of those epic songs and anime just gives you the goosebumps.
Like, sure, I like the soldier thing. Like if there's like someone that made like a story like what was it called? I don't remember, but there was like a story where it was like an interdimensional like gate was opened and Tokyo was all.
Oh yeah. Well, you can just call it the gate because usually people do that.
It's called the Gate. Okay, I forgot. I forgot what it was called. But the Gate is a great anime as well. I love that anime. But I don't know. I think that I like it more when it's kind of realistic. I mean, sure, I like Angel Beats. Angel Beats it's one of my favorite animes as well, definitively. Hold on, let me just read this out. No, I mean the Gate, not like the Blue Exorcist as well. Oh, that's on my top 10. The Blue Exorcist. That one is awesome. I love that one. Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh,
Full
bro.
Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Also, one of my favorite animes was probably one called Maria the Virgin. If you love it, I love that one because it was very historically accurate up to the point of magic, but still.
Yeah, I know that one.
Oh.
I got very got giddy when sudden murder stroke, or half sorting came into the play. So
Like, I'm gonna say this all. Like, some viewers don't call me like a crybaby or whatever because I like animes that makes me feel emotional or makes me cry.
makes you giddy.
Yeah, generally that makes me cry and stuff like that. I like to watch series, movies, and stuff like that. Like Lord of the Rings, the last movie made me cry, for example, and the last Hobbit movie made me cry as well. And then we have like the other things. I'm even writing a book right now. I'm not going to advertise that because it's not done yet, but I'm working on that. So.
You got a booking right. That's right.
Yeah, I am going to advertise once it's done, but right now I'm not going to be bothered because I don't even have a title on the book yet. But generally, I like stories that makes the person that either makes a person or makes me emotional.
Well, that's a great thing about anime. Really, it's can be for all audiences, really.
Yeah, I know, but like Angel Beats, for example, that one had like a crazy, like that's my favorite, like I think drama, like anime, I think I'd call it. I mean, we have the one with the robots and stuff like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, like these androids. I think it was. And 9 years, every 9 years, they were like after 9 years they would become decommissioned, and then they would be sent off. I don't
Oh
remember
yeah,
what it was called.
I recall that one. Someone was trying to basically the main character had an android, and then he had to struggle morally because his job was basically putting those androids out of commission.
Yes, and that was that because like if you guys haven't seen the story of that one, what is it called? I always forget what it's called. I forget every anime what it's called. It's called SAO because
I probably got a lot of anime have very weird names sometimes.
if I gotta be completely honest, I was surprised what happened in Attack on Titans this season. It was crazy. Like the second season of Attack on Titans was.
Didn't watch it yet.
I have played the Attack on Titan game,
Yeah,
the X-Hole one, not the fan made one. But I have seen the anime myself. I've heard that it's good, and I played the game. And it was pretty good, pretty fun.
The anime is a bit bizarre, I'd say. It's crazy.
Well, I think the anime focuses more on the I would say the emotional, mental factor of being such a small place all the time.
To be honest,
yeah,
I read the manga.
High School of the Dead as well. It kind of depicts that, but it's like see, the thing is that I like zombie stories as well because they generally like to preach about survivors that is sometimes badass. Like this one guy that was like
I have an anime for you.
He was really cool.
It's with the zombie faces. It's kind of hard to play because I kind of end up with the same kind of plot, you know.
One of the things that I can't take with anime though is that why is it always that they gotta be like right near 18? Why can't it be something around 30 or 40 years old? It's like
that's because of the fan service. Because back in Japan, I think so. The legal age of having sex is 13, 16, even 13, even in some parts.
Oh fuck no, nah. Like I don't understand what Japan is doing sometimes. I mean they make good anime.
The
tentacles.
Technically, the legal age to have sex is at least in Poland I know is 16. as long. However, so basically, if you have sex with someone who is 15, right?
Yeah.
That's pedophilia here.
Well, in Norway, I am pretty sure about this. It doesn't really apply to me because I didn't have sex with someone I was under this age. But you can have sex with someone when you're 16 years old. That's your age of consent. And I've heard that in Britain it's a bit different. Is that you are allowed to have sex when you're 16, but only if your partner is 16 years old as well.
Yeah, there is a different. In Poland, it's a bit differentiated because between the age of 16 and 18, you can have sex. You don't need consent for it.
Well, the same kind of
However,
goes.
if someone is under 18 years old and the person they have sex with is over 18 years old, then they require the consent of the guardian of the underage person.
Oh,
So
I did not know
imagine.
that. Did not know that.
Well, the same kind of goes here in the Netherlands, really.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Funny that we started this stuff from anime to sorry to sex.
Well,
Right?
no, we're not going to discuss hentai, okay? We can just go.
How about let's just
But
go
I
to
have
the...
some great ones.
No!
No!
Leave it!
No! No!
Just
No!
kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Perhaps a different subject will be in order.
Oh god.
Well, you know.
Remember our discussion
talking-
about dabbing?
Oh yeah,
No!
we had this discussion
No!
about dabbing.
No!
That's right.
No!
We did. We did.
No!
I destroyed. Do you refer to yourself on YouTube as Bekken?
Myself, because it's my last name, and because I can't be asked to figure out the name, and generally
Okay.
I just go back in the back.
So Bekken, I destroyed Bekken's view of some anime because he knew because I showed him scenes where they dab.
I
It wasn't a dab, though.
First of all, I want to say this straight away. I haven't seen Dragon Ball Z.
They dab in Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, I know that.
They don't.
But I have never gotten the chance to sit around and watch Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, or some other.
I would recommend Dragon Ball Z.
To be honest-
Dragon Ball Z, I definitely want to get around to one time, but it's like there's a few animes which has so many freaking episodes. It's like, yeah, just generally, like I can't be asked to sit down and actually watch every single one of them. Oh, which is just crazy. Like sometimes it is.
The thing with dabbing is that it's not a Western thing. People assume it's Western because it's very recent here, Western culture.
Yeah, that's what
However-
I thought. I thought that it was very Western. Like everyone that got like.
Well, dabbing isn't
Yeah,
Western, but the joke of dabbing is Western.
Yeah, but it's a bit funny. I don't know why, but whenever someone like does a dab, like what I'm trying to do now, kills me. Anyways.
Well, when I see someone dab, I just get a heart attack.
Yeah, it's like that. I don't know why people just find it sometimes cringy whenever someone does a dab. I get it when someone
It has no point at all. They just do it for the sake of doing it.
I know, right? I mean, I completely know. It's a bit crazy. It's crazy, definitively.
I mean, it's like using a dead meme to make yourself feel popular. Like, so you give someone like a very nasty burn, as in, you burned them in words, and then you suddenly just dab because you just had to. You just had to. Because, you have to rub it in with more cringiness.
Yeah, probably. And I want to say this right away is that one of the things, like actually, yeah, maybe we should discuss this. You know the games that has come out this year?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, is there any favorites that you guys have?
Well, probably, I would say last year, because it's still early 2018,
Okay, last year then, Pleb.
Well, that's for honor.
The Dragon Ball game that is coming out recently.
Oh, Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
Yeah.
I like Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's one of the games that I really like.
I haven't really touched Wildlands that much, really. I have seen quite some good trailers of it.
Yeah, the Ghost Recon Wildlands is a great game in my opinion. Hold on, I'm gonna go on my PlayStation.
As of the
Origins, Assassin's Creed Origins, great game. Hold on, I need to see if I can find my charger to my. There it is.
Stab people like an Egyptian.
No, see the thing is that at this point, I think that that Egypt is actually owned by not by the Greeks actually, which is not that which is kind of a bit surprising.
Yeah, right. And another question.
As of the games that came out in 2017, I think if I had to choose, if I had to pick one, when did Dragon Age Inquisition come out? I think it was 2017, wasn't it?
No, I think my Inquisition was a bit earlier.
I know Andromeda came out.
No, I don't think Andromeda. No one liked Andromeda. Don't
I
worry,
do.
I kind of liked it, but at the same time, it was a bit animation.
I actually liked it. They could work on
They could
the
have worked on
animations and stuff.
I agree, and I didn't hate Andromeda like everyone else did. I had like Mass Effect Andromeda was not the worst game of all time. People
Yeah.
like people that say that like that.
Although the mechanics with those profiles was a bit overdone because you wouldn't use them anyway. You just focus on what you like go biotics, technology, what you preferred.
Yeah.
Well,
For
to be
example,
honest,
I went Charger, however, that backfired very quickly because they introduced something in Andromeda that kills you instantly with bigger enemies.
Well, I figured out the way how to deal with it.
well, in all honesty,
Just
2017.
when you do a melee attack, you just go in and pull back immediately. It's not
Well,
very. It might be a bit difficult to do with a keyboard, but with a controller, it's very easy.
Fair enough.
Well, to be honest, in 2017, there's not really much. I would say game-wise, that's very intriguing. However, in 2017, I would say a lot of movies came out that were very questionable.
Okay.
Deadpool. I wanted to talk about Star Wars: Last Jedi, really, but okay.
Yes, guys. Spoilers for Star Wars: The Last Jedi. It will come up a time marker right here. You can skip past it, so you guys don't have to see this. Just click the button right here that comes up here, or go down in the description. It will say a time that you guys can skip past this. Okay?
Because it will be a long, ranting story.
I had to warn them.
Yeah, I had to warn them because this is gonna be taking a long time.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Star Wars now. Okay, I gotta say, first thing I'm very disappointed about is, and by the way, this is going to be really funny because it's going to be like a spoiler warning popping up everywhere now, and I'm just saying, like over the entirety of the screen, it's just going to be a spoiler.
Spoilers are out every fucking second.
Yeah. But basically, I was really annoyed by Snoke and how he died.
Well,
the thing is,
wait. Can I just say one thing about? Can I say one thing about Snoke? At least he's half the man he used to be now.
Fuck you.
But the main thing about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, what got me really off, is how it was treated. Because Disney got treated like it was Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
No,
the humor was awful.
First of all, I'm a better writer. I'd say. I'd give Snoke a bit of a push down.
Well, yeah, Snoke was just there because we needed a bad guy.
Okay, one of the things I'm going to say straight away is that if you're going to have a major bad guy at any series, put this shit into consideration. They should have done that. This shit would have been sick. If you seen him transfer his soul at the end, they should have made.
Yeah.
By the way, also one thing that I want to say straight away is that it doesn't make any sense.
Well, actually, in all honesty,
like you can hear the lightsaber switch.
May I say something about this shit? And this will be a spoiler to every Old Republic player, so you can just skip over it, and you probably should. Thing is, with this shit, when you beat Valkorion, because normally, even as Jedi Knight, when you beat this shit, he doesn't seem too phased by it. He doesn't seem phased by it. He just goes, okay. And then you have a creepy laughter and, wow.
Well, one of the things I want to say straight away is that this shit is way more powerful than what I believe people give him.
But this shit is dead.
Yes.
A quote-unquote dead.
You killed him, his incorporeal being. You didn't even, this time you didn't even aim for the body, you aimed for what was his strength.
Yes, we know, but I want to say this straight away that this shit, and I'm saying this shit because I like it better than Valkorion, is that because I didn't completely like what they did with the entirety of the story with this shit and stuff like that, but it wasn't horrible. And what they could have done, and by the way, I'm saying that I don't think that Knights and that's the Knights of the Fallen Empire or whatever it's called is canon. I don't know. I haven't.
It's not canon, really. It's Legends of Course. So
Okay, so it's Legends.
The whole game is Legends.
Okay.
everything outside of the movies is Legends.
Not everything.
Well,
There
not
are,
everything.
there are novels and books that are considered canon, like for
Yes, there are
example the
novels
one
and
that
books
explains
is
what
actually
Snoke was.
shit. Yes, I
Yes.
know. You don't need to tell us. I
But
mean, there are some that is good. There are some that is good. There's some writers that have the right brain for Star Wars. There's some writers that doesn't. Let's be honest. There are some writers that is not like. See, the thing is that I really liked the light speed thingy into the thing, into like when you see the light speed like thing just go pop, like when the ship goes light speed into the Snoke's ship. That is sick. That's one of my
Yeah,
favorite.
that was sick.
I always wondered what happens if they actually did that.
I've always wondered that too. It's
Yeah, the whole ship blows up. Here's the thing, though. The most stupid scene I ever think what was in the Last Jedi was probably that space scene with Leia. That was so fucking stupid.
Okay, one of the things I'm gonna say that it's kind of cool that they show that she had the Force, but at the same time they should just kill her.
They should have just killed her. That would be such a better character development for Kylo. Instead, we get a goddamn meme about how buff he is.
Yeah,
but
is that a meme?
Yes, a meme.
Well, one of the things I'm gonna say that they should have killed her off. They should have honored her legacy. I'd say Carrie Fisher. They should have done that, in my opinion. Like, I'm not saying that they should kill off Leia just because Fisher died. I'm just saying that it would have been a lot more better and make a lot more sense than to fucking do.
People think that
people assume that you die instantly in the vacuum of space. You don't die instantly.
You don't
You
die
have-
instantly. No,
you have about
can't
10
survive
minutes to
several
live.
Minutes in the vacuum in space.
Yeah. Also, lore-wise, what she did isn't actually that that much of a overpowered thing.
No,
Because,
I'm not saying that it's
Well,
overpowered.
it's not my
It's
problem.
not
That's
that it's overpowered. Far from it. Far from it, my friend. But I don't think I've seen a single comic or canon thing that
Clone
says that
Wars.
she trained in the Force. And you
Oh,
can't
that
just
thing.
switch it like it's
well,
you
actually,
can't just go and flick a switch like that to learn yourself the Force.
actually,
Force
the-
Unleashed isn't canon. Stop.
Force Unleashed was also a thing where they showed Leia was Force sensitive.
Yeah, but it isn't canon.
It isn't
it's
canon at
just-
all because then you get killed.
It's a game to display what a Force user could be capable of if he really tried.
Well, then we all know that would be quite done, but lightsabers are more flashy and stuff.
Yeah,
But the
one of things I wanna say
main problem
straight
was I
away-
had with that scene is how stupid it looked like.
Like, I'm not arguing with Leia's way of using the Force. It's just that how quickly she learned it. It's not a thing you can just trigger out of nowhere.
Ray.
Well, I heard
yeah.
like a bunch
Yeah,
of
Ray.
Ray.
Can I explain to you guys what is with it now? They've made like a thing where what they've done with Star Wars now is that there is one being, there's one being power from the light side, but they have to be an equal power on the dark side that rises to fight that thing. That means that Luke and Snoke was equal power. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't understand if Snoke was really out.
Well, there are a lot of plot holes in the movie, and fun despite to say, it's hard to fill that plot holes in, really.
Well, he was described as a powerful dark side user in a book that basically was a encyclopedia on characters, and that's how they explained who he was. Because they just wanted to go, because a lot of people. Sorry, I have too many thoughts swirling around in my head, so I just do those breaks sometimes. Anyway, a lot of people wanted to have as many connections to the old stuff as possible. So they made up stories like, oh, Snoke is Plagueis and Rey's father is Luke Skywalker or something. Because they wanted it. And then there comes Last Jedi and goes in your face.
Well, I mean, I get it. Like, ever since the movies came out, there were a lot of things that were added. There was the Old Republic games and such, and there was a lot of things to lore. And I wouldn't have blamed Disney for making that not non-canon, because that will be way too much to handle and put into a movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
However, the way how they did it is that they completely butchered it in the end.
Like, I didn't like the way that Luke went. I mean, actually, I kind of like the way that he went, but at the same time, I kind of didn't.
I mean, that's how Obi-Wan went.
Yes, but it doesn't
Right?
mean that he
It's
has to
how
follow
Obi-Wan
that
went,
same
but it's not
role.
how. If the finish with Luke was that. How do I say it? He was kind of at the start. He was kind of seen as a joke. Like for the first scene when he gets his lightsaber, he just throws it away. And
That
like,
was funny though. I laughed at that. That was good.
well, no, my problem is that at super serious moments like that, like Rey being trained in the Force, or like Luke gets his lightsaber back, you shouldn't make jokes like that. Sure, they're funny, but come on, seriously.
And that's the problem. I think at sometimes the comedy was nice, but I think they overdid. Like Disney does with a lot of movies, they overdid on comedy.
I agree.
This is,
Like, what is everything suddenly?
I mean, it was
Marvel
the
movie or
instances were funny, but in the whole when you put it all together, they took up too much of the story.
Yeah.
And seeing that we're talking about Star Wars and Last Jedi, I'm pretty sure we have to have mentioned it some one way or another. Porgs.
Say that again.
Porgs.
You mean
Porgs are awesome. Porgs are life. Porgs are love.
What are you talking about? I don't remember what they're.
You know those little things, like with the big eyes, the flying.
The one that was in the trailer for it.
Yeah. Those are porgs.
I don't mind them.
Okay,
They are
okay.
just a minor inconvenience.
They're cute. They're cute.
Okay.
Shut up.
No, I'm gonna give it to you. Porgs are adorable. I can say that. I think that they were kind of overdid. Done, you know.
Like, I think they.
I wouldn't have mind if they were on a few scenes like that, like the one scene where Chewie was sitting down chomping on some pork meat, or that scene where Rey was reaching for the force. But when they were in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and when they were about like in every goddamn joke, that's just no.
Like, I don't like that they were like. See, the thing is that they are only doing that to basically get like the merch shit. We all know that for a fact. Oh god, no, she posted a picture. But one thing that I want to say straight away is that I don't think I enjoy. Like, one of the things that I want to say about Star Wars is that I'm glad that they brought back the first movie, like the movie sequel. Like, they didn't have it in Rogue One. Everyone noticed that probably. But basically, if they hadn't had that, I would have walked out on the fucking movie right there and then. Just saying, if they didn't have, if I like, see, the first thing is that if it doesn't have the scroll screen upwards, it's not Star Wars to me. No offense. It's like, sure, it's Rogue One was a good movie. It was a good movie. Rogue One was an amazing movie, and
I loved Rogue One. It was great. Some of the plot points were a bit weird, like the characters, for example.
Don't
But
choke on your operations. Well.
yeah.
I mean, for the things, for the actors they had, and I mainly mean the CGI things they did, I think they went with it rather well. I don't understand why people were whining about Vader using.
Was someone complaining about the last part?
Oh no, not the last part. The last part was amazing. That was
the
amazing.
last part is amazing. It's the best part when you see.
Oh, how Vader just barged in. It was amazing.
I love to hear their screams at night.
Oh god, there's something wrong with you. Anyway, I mean the part where he does don't choke on your aspirations.
Don't choke on your aspirations. Oh,
exactly.
But I let it go.
Great fun.
I let it go. I let it go, my friend.
The thing is, that's not a problem to me because that's what Vader was known for.
He was Peter Pickle, and he made jokes like that before.
He made jokes, but he was like, I mean, he was funny as Anakin, but
well, the thing is, I think it was a
make me laugh. That's the thing. It was just a horrible shit show.
It was a dad joke, but he did those dad jokes. He did that because he's Darth
funny.
Vader.
Darth Vader dad jokes.
Anyway.
I mean, he
I
did
think
jokes
he
like
had
that
that
before.
from
Like
Obi-Wan.
he did jokes like that before. Like in a comic, he went to this planet constantly talking to some nobles who was planning to step out of the Empire's favor, and one of the nobles demanded Vader to dance with his daughter. And what he basically did is choked that noble and threw him across the room. And he said, "Anyone else want to be my dance partner?" No.
I swear I've heard about that as well. That sounds like a pretty yolly good comic, to say. I mean, honestly, that is the thing I can imagine him doing. But yeah, but if I'm gonna be completely honest, there is a few things about. I'd say that I don't like. I kind of didn't like the entire. Like when the Force Awakens came out, I was like, I didn't really like the story that it was going. Like I like they made Tron canon again. I really liked that in Rebels. That was really good. There were certain things that I really liked that they did, but at the same time, I didn't like where the Star Wars series was going with Force Awakens. And when it was leading on further from that, they have brought it back like the prequels had excellent lightsaber fighting. Everyone can agree on that.
Well, let's just say the prequels did give a great insight on what happened before the movies, and it was good. Just there were a lot of questionable moments, like Jar Jar Binks, for example.
I'd say. Questionable characters.
Yes. I especially love Obi-Wan because how he was.
Yes, that's true. But basically, what I also wanted to say is that the old movie, the old movies, like you can't blame George Lucas from having a bad the lightsaber combat was being slow on the fourth.
The reason for that is because they
because
they
it was
didn't
old.
have,
It was really old and it was made a long time ago. But
and they use actual physical material. So during the recording, they could put that light on it. However, the material was very fragile, and that's why they couldn't mess around with it too
yes,
much.
exactly. And you can't blame George Lucas for having so, and it wasn't even him that directed the movie. There wasn't even him that directed the movie, but generally, I think that was good for its time. It was very good for its time. And then came out the prequels, and I was a kid when I saw it the first time. So when I saw Yoda swinging about and I generally going crazy against this one guy, I was so hyped. And then when I was the Force Awakens, I was like, oh yes, they're gonna bring back better lightsaber duels.
Speaking of Yoda, I did like the fact that they used the old version of Yoda in the Last Jedi.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I really love that. That was amazing as well. I thought that Obi-Wan was going to be there as well, but you know, I would totally love that.
Use the puppets, you must.
You read the books. I really like I really like him. But also I also want to say that what was I saying? Oh yeah, but I can't believe that they are bringing the lightsaber combat back to a slow pace again.
Well, it's hard to go to a fast pace in the movies because it's kind of gets
The
over
difference is-
exaggerated in the games and other
No,
things.
I'm not saying that you should have. I'm saying that you should have kept it with the prequel phase because that was more accurate in due to that to the novels or like the stuff that was like the descriptions of like what happened. Like if a blind person listens to it, they will think that it was as it was in the prequel movies. Like the prequels was good in my opinion. I liked
It was good,
the
just questionable characters.
questionable characters. All I'm going to say is that it was the characters that ruined it. The politics was great. I liked to see the clone army in combat, and I loved the entirety of the movies. The movies
And I
were
love
great.
the memes.
And I wish I could watch the prequels before watching the actual Empire Strikes Back and stuff like that. I wish I could watch that before. Like, if I could go back in time, I wish that I could wait until to watch the prequels before I watch.
In all honesty, if you're gonna watch the new Star Wars movies for the first time, I would not suggest watching the old movies first, because then you will be expecting way too much.
You just watch the yeah, but I wish I could do that because all the movies are great. And what I want to say is that I think that they are slowing it down way too much. Like George Lucas, it was George Lucas that directed the prequels, after all. I mean, he is the guy that gave the picture on how the movies and everything was supposed to be because he was the face of LucasArts. He was the guy that was leading everything when it came to like the Star Wars movies and stuff like that. So Yeah, what you mean order? That's what I was saying. That was what I wanted to do. But basically, what I want to say is that what I want to what I want to say is that I don't want them to change the pace back to like they did, because now it's somewhere in the middle of the prequels and like the originals, and I don't think I like that very much. That's all I'm saying, really, to be honest.
In like, it's really hard to fill in people's expectations, really.
Yeah.
But we're in an era where people are expecting quite a lot.
Well, I did like the battle between Ray and uh, uh, Ray and I can't say his name, Kylo. Ray and Kylo's battle between the Praetorian Guards. That was really awesome. I wish it would have been Snoke standing up and then basically just go with a lightsaber instead, and then he would just basically say, "Back off! I got this."
You know what? There's one thing about Snoke I really didn't like. Why did it look like he was wearing a bathrobe all the time?
That is why he. Yeah, I thought I was the only one.
It just looked like he was wearing like a very luxurious bathrobe, as if he's just stand out of a jacuzzi out for a second or something.
I personally didn't mind that because
God should have.
there are way weird outfits in Star Wars.
See,
oh, we know slave dancers, for example.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, I want to say this straight away though. My favorite lightsaber battle in all of Star Wars history is the Blade Master. What is his name?
Well, to be honest, I love.
He was the guy in the Star Wars: The Old Republic. Do you remember trailer?
Nope.
Star Wars: The Old Republic trailer. Don't you remember that?
Oh, which one? What do you mean?
The first one, when you see Satine Shan and stuff like that. But that was my favorite.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That and Darth Maul versus Darth Maul and like.
Yeah. I can see.
Yes, that is my second favorite. But my favorite of all times is that lightsaber battle when you see the Blade Master just go up against Malgus and the Vindicate. I don't remember what's his.
I am still surprised they didn't make that into a movie.
No, I like that. I just like that as a trailer. It was a cool lightsaber fight, and that is all.
You should make a movie about Revan.
No, nah.
Nah, joking.
That would take too long.
I would be joking. But
I'm scared what Disney's gonna do with the Star Wars franchise. To be fair,
I love the blade combat in Star Wars. It's kind of outshined about how extremely big the Force can be.
Yeah.
Especially here in our P communities, in the Soto community, it's just people just love the Force. The Force is the best. You cannot beat the Force.
That's not completely true.
Well, yeah, people still are like that.
Yeah. The thing is, in most cases, when you have a Force user and a non-Force user, the Force user is going to wipe the floor with the Force user. However, that is only true when the Force user is trained. For example, if you pit a Mandalorian against the Padawan is going to die.
No matter what you say about it, he will die.
Well, it depends, because a non-Force user can easily kill a Force user if they are prepared for it, though. Like, things like makes them hard to focus, because if you can't focus, you cannot use the Force properly.
You said Padawan, though. Want to say this straight away? Mandalorians, just want to say this straight. Mandalorians was known for killing Jedi's, and not just any Jedi's. Jedi Masters has died.
The thing is,
they also killed Sith.
The thing is, Mandalorians during, for example, the Neo Crusaders, right, when they fought the Republic.
Yeah.
They weren't fighting many masters because most masters disagreed with Revan. Most disagreed with them and didn't follow them. Those who followed were of rank Padawan or Jedi Knight.
Yes, but I just want to answer this by the winner first before.
And they still lost.
Yes, but I want to say this straight away.
Yeah, but you need to imagine that they only lost because of a big super weapon.
Okay, one of the things I want to say straight away is that the Sith side is kind of ironic. But anyways, let me just actually go on further and say that yes, I know that there was both the Sith and Jedi, but I wanted to compare it to something everyone knows what is. Not everyone knows that Mandalorians wouldn't stand a shit of a chance against Sidious or Vader or Bane or anyone like that. Darths have never died by a Mandalorian. I'm pretty sure.
Actually,
Do you know about the Darth that has died by a Mandalorian? A Darth.
yes.
Okay. Who?
What's his face? Torian's father. Because when you look at one of his, when he does the trophy, when you do the trophy hunting mission, then there was one trophy of, what was it again? A skull of a Darth.
Oh yeah, there was that.
I don't remember that.
There
I
was that.
swear. Torian's father killed one.
Okay, so see, that is the thing though. It all comes down to skill. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. If you are trained to kill, like, see, the thing is that the Jedi are
But
trained to
he
kill.
wasn't
They're trained
Armanda.
to save
He wasn't a
lives.
true Mandalorian.
Well, he was named Darmanda not after.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, he was a Darmanda because he didn't answer the call of Mandalore, wasn't he? Something like that. Because
Yeah, but
Mandalore
most of his
called
achievements
Mandalorian.
most of his achievements were before he was called out for being Darmanda.
I really like to hear about what Mandalore the Ultimate used as a weapon. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Probably something close to those wrist guards.
No, he was not using a wrist guard. He was using like an axe or something, like a battle axe, like a huge battle axe.
Yeah, made it
Mandalore
best.
the
That would
Ultimate
be
was
great.
like carrying around a massive battle axe.
That would be great.
That
Oh
was
wait, who?
Mandalore the Ultimate.
EA, make it happen. Give us a battle axe.
I know a Sith that uses a battle axe. Can you guess?
Oh
Nope.
Adas.
That's seriously?
Yes, Adas was using a battle axe.
no. You know,
Wow.
I wish, like, what are you guys like? I want to say this straight away. My favorite weapon of all times inside of Star Wars, like continuity, is probably the light whip.
The light whip.
The light whip.
Kinky.
Last Jedi.
The last. I
Vibro-
don't count it as a
Vibro whip.
light whip, my friend.
Fiber weapons.
Vibro whip.
I don't count it as light whip. It was a weapon that they did something with it, but it wasn't a light whip. Like a lightsaber.
It was electromagnetic something. It was an electro whip.
Yeah.
Because it uses magnetics to keep together.
Yeah, but it's one of my favorite.
There's two ways you can stop. Like, there's a lot of ways you can stop a lightsaber.
But a light whip.
Oh yeah,
That's the.
there are a lot of weapons in Star Wars that I love, and I can't really pick one.
Well, a lightsaber is still, at the end of the day, it's a secondary weapon.
Kinda. You could use this as your first and forward weapon. It's not just a secondary. You can use it as a first weapon, but it's not suggested. Well, it's a light whip is kinky apparently.
Well, what do you think? It's a whip.
Just because it's a whip, it's kinky, okay? I don't know why.
You don't know what they used back in the day.
Light whips, really, bro? What is a light whip? And by the way, if anyone is going to I'm going to say this straight away to the comments, is that if anyone is going to question how can you bend light in such a matter, it's fantasy.
First of all, it's not light to begin with.
And second of all, it's fantasy. Get over it.
People falsely assume that Star Wars is a science fiction movie. It's not as much a movie as it is a science fiction action movie, something along those lines.
It's a science fiction action, if I would say.
It's drama.
It's drama. But what I want to say is science fiction meets fantasy. It takes the fantasy side because, the Force and that stuff. It's a sci-fi version of it because, space and
The
lasers.
battle things are mostly secondary. What the series used to focus on is the story, the development between characters.
So viewers, you all see that this is a bit more complicated. As everyone has a favorite weapon in some Star Wars, right? There are certain weapons. There's like this vibro sword, for example, and there are things that generally works to your advantage. And I said view because a person joined this thing, and I didn't want her to just speak because I was saying view because that would have Anyways, my point is that it's very, very interesting how many weapons you can actually put together. That is just cool in my opinion.
Also, if you want to ask how a light whip works, ask Tolkien.
I wouldn't.
You know what I'm referencing?
Yeah,
Nice.
I know what.
Actually,
exactly.
we've been talking for so long.
Balrog demon.
Oh, Balrog, really, bro?
Balrog is not as much as name to name that specific being, but to name the kind of being.
Fair enough.
Because I read Silmarillion, and Balrogs were actually beings that had a plural form.
Well, I've heard about what Balrogs are, but I never really like things that I never gotten around to read the Silmarillion.
They are about basically they are the same level as you have Sauron and Gandalf. There are
Oh,
Yeah, I
spirits
know
that
my
join.
Maya. I know my Maya. You don't need to tell me that. I know that.
Gandalf and Sauron, Balrog are about the same age, simply put, because they are spirits that joined after the creation of the world. Middle Earth actually used to be as beautiful as the land of the elves that was later created. But
Sauron
Sauron's master happened. Sauron was an earth spirit, and he actually had a master. I think it was called how? Not Morlog? Morgoth. Yeah. To those that don't know, Mor means darkness.
Yeah, I actually figured out that myself. I decided to search up the English. I like
that. And Dor means realm.
Yes, and he was. By the way, I also want to say this right straight. The old I want to say this straight that Sauron had nothing on him, and I wanna actually add something. If we are going to go into the Lord of the Rings universe, I want to say something about the about Sauron in general. If someone hasn't seen Shadows of War, played Shadows of War or Shadows of Mordor, I highly suggest that you guys go play that game because it's a bit of a spoiler to the game right now. So you guys can just, if you guys haven't seen it, go and check it out. Or you guys can check out my video about it. it'll be so there'll be an entire game playlist right on my playlist side, so you guys can go check it out. Anyways,
actually, we've been ranting for so long, I actually completely forgot that we're having a podcast.
Yeah, I've been trying to say this out. I've been trying. I know for I've gotten used to this, so I know for a fact that we've been doing a podcast. But basically, in Shadows of War, there's this. It isn't canon, obviously, but I still want to put it in because this is kind of way that Sauron would act, anyways. But I don't think that Sauron was like when you hear the title Dark Lord, you see something frightening. Sauron is kind of frightening, right? You find it frightening. I find it frightening. I find it a bit frightening.
I would have found it frightening until I saw the damn gigantic mace he had.
Okay, so basically, Sauron himself is created these rings to take over these kings and stuff like that. So that basically he gave the 9 rings to men, and the dwarves, the 7 rings to dwarves, so that he could take control of them. Like he created. I have the 1 ring on my finger actually. He created this ring. Yeah, you guys could see it. Basically, if you guys are going back to see this on the video, basically you guys see it. But basically, he goes back and he basically creates the 1 ring to rule them all, because basically when he puts that ring on, he starts to control and basically force them all to be controlled by him. By doing that, he exposes himself because he put most of his life force into the 1 ring. The 1 ring! Okay, before you guys start and say that, oh, is that such a big deal? Isn't that a better idea? I mean, your powers most likely get multiplied. Yeah, they do. Don't get me wrong.
That's what happens when an underling tries to be a master.
Yeah, and then also, that's a very good thing to say, because look at Malgus. Take him into consideration. Okay, so basically,
Malgus had a great plan, but he executed it poorly.
Okay. Sauron should never have stepped out of his castle once he was in the Battle of Barad-dûr. He should have stayed in there and let his cronies do their work. And then he should wait until they were on his doorstep. Then he could just slam them dead, every single one. I don't understand why he decided to put out his other hand and try to grab Isildur. What was he trying to achieve? Was he being retarded? Was he like,
He was
I'm
being-
going to try to grab Isildur, the king
No.
of Gondor, that has the sword that can cut my finger in half? Is he retarded?
I think he just remembered his glory days as a warden, and I just wanted to relive them.
No, I have a theory on it. I have a fucking theory on it, but it's so fucking stupid.
Well, I guess he should have paid more mercenaries some respect.
Okay, one of the things I'm going to say straight away is that he had 3 human clans fighting for him: the Men of Rune, the Men of what were they called again?
He was just such a big rat.
And then he had the Haradrim. He had Rune, Umbar, and Haradrim. The Haradrims fought for him, and they bled and they died for him. I'm sure he had a dwarf faction which fought for him as well. I'm uncertain. I don't know. But let me be completely fair and completely honest. It's utterly bullshit because of the reason that he decided to create one ring to destroy everything when he could create a 10,000 army and hold about 50,000 men inside of Mordor. Now, let me just say this straight away. Saruman has a huge ring around his territory, right? He has this huge castle. Saruman has that, and he fit 10,000.
You mean the pool?
If you look at the scale of the fucking, like, I don't remember what
That should be a
Saruman's
meme.
castle was called, but look at the scale, and you see the difference. 10,000 Uruk-hais. He could hold about 50 to 60,000. Sauron could, of men, of orcs. He could create them randomly if he wanted to, and he didn't even have to attack when he attacked. He was disguising himself as the Lord of Gifts,
Bekken.
and came out and he gave the gifts to everyone else. And he
Bekken.
should have thought about it.
Bekken. Breathe.
Breathe. Take some time, sip some tea or something like that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. You need to take some relaxation therapy classes. Take some scented
Go to
candles.
swim.
Take a nice
Go
bubble
for a
bath.
swim.
Smoke
Go
some
for-
weed. I don't care. Just do something. Relax.
Harris.
I'm just saying.
Let's all
you
go
figured
for
that
a
out
swim
because
in
it's utterly
Saruman's
bullshit.
pool.
It's utterly bullshit. Okay? It's utterly bullshit that he decided to create something that was incredibly powerful. And
Hey,
he didn't
Bekken.
consider the fact that he could have lost that thing. Like,
Hey, Bekken. You want some relaxation therapy classes? I know a guy that really wants to get payment in respect. So if you have enough respect. But also, no, yesterday we were talking about respect. So I gave something to a guy that it had quite some value on it, and Becca said, "Oh, you got something better than money. You got respect.
You got my respect. That's what it is. Like, you can't buy anything in life with respect, but
You got respect." Well, I want you to imagine that your tax person comes to the door like, "All right, so you want to pay for your roof for how much exactly? How much? It's like this much, and how are you gonna pay it? I'm gonna pay you in respect."
I still laugh at it.
Your fucking loan shark comes in. It's time to pay, fella. Where's my money? I will pay you in respect. And then you end up dead. Fella stabbed in your chest.
We said the same thing about a hooker, but at the
Or
same
you're, and then you're in the hospital where you're treated for your stab wounds. It seems like that your health insurance cannot cover this. How are you gonna solve this? I'm gonna pay you in respect.
The fact that you made that noise was hilarious. Wait, hold on. We got a big message here. Well, why does a fucking fleet or faction that apparently took over all the galaxy follow a single ship with 3 miles per hour instead of, I don't know, sending some ship through hyperspace so they can jump in front of them and destroy the resistant ship? Whisper cast plot and the fact they had to go through.
I think this. Okay. This is for this not a plot hole, but I think this is probably because the First Order was probably very cocky that they would win, so they would just want to take their time out. It's like nice.
I didn't question that at the point, but now you make me question it. The entire thing where, like, by the way, this isn't a spoiler. I'm just gonna say straight away, we are past the mark. So Bekken, if you forget to put the mark on the fucking podcast, I will slap you.
Wait, you just tell yourself that?
Yes, I know. I told myself so that I could like remember to put the mark.
Becken, if you don't, I'll put this fucking spoiler warning on. I'm gonna go to your house and kill you. That means I will commit suicide, but whatever.
I thought it was funny. But my point is that, like, they decide to chase them, and then somehow they chase them through hyperspace. I don't know how they do that. I mean, there's never been a technology
Bekken
in
side.
history that has done that. Who knows? I don't care.
They just barely got the tech, apparently.
But what they should have installed on Snoke's ship, a gravity well.
Oh, well, yeah.
They should have done that. Why didn't they?
They should have installed what the Death Star had, and it's called a tractor beam.
I think they just did that just for the sake of,
Dude,
they were super confident that they had.
Tractor beam range. That's the reason why they couldn't be tagged like that.
I think the sole reason is that they knew that they were gonna win, so they were just playing with their food, if you know what I'm saying.
That's what I thought too. And also, when I say that straight away, hold on. How did the bombs in the beginning fall on the first of a ship in space?
Yeah, I wanted.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. How did they fall on in space?
Yeah, I was
I
like,
mean, they didn't
what
have any
gravity?
engines
Where?
for the rockets, did they? Did you guys see any engines go off? No.
No, it was
Actually,
cannons
I think
firing.
I have a theory. I have a theory. Everyone stop. I have a theory.
Solar wind.
When they went downwards, when they entered the vacuum of space, they would still go the same way they went when they fell into the vacuum of space.
Well, technically, if there's a mass in space that's quite a large, like a fraction like that from that size, there will be gravity. Not strong one, mind you, but there would still be gravity.
Yeah, but what was there? There was nothing.
Wow.
It was space.
But when you see the bombs drop down like that, they are going to continue going downwards until they hit something that will stop them. Like, basically, you guys know how, like,
Guys, I don't think you guys know the gravity of the situation.
I don't remember what Newton said, but he said that,
Then I think the pun went over
That wasn't
Ben's
Mass
head.
Effect, actually.
Had the same reaction, whatever. And it was something like that. I don't remember exactly. But
That wasn't Mass Effect, actually.
if they were going downwards in that direction, there's a good chance they would continue going down that direction until they hit something and then circle off the other way. That is my thoughts about it. I might be wrong. Who knows?
I think the pun went over Becken's head.
What my question is, why did they go in such arcs? There was no gravity involved in that space. They should have gone straight.
One of the things I'm going to say straight also...
I know that the bombs fell for it, so...
Why didn't they use Y-Wings?
Why not?
Because they...
Listen to Radis.
Wait,
Suggested
actually,
let's just bomb this ship with iron bombs and then
Hey.
let's just smack that into that.
Actually,
Great idea.
Becken, the big question is, why are we not?
I just think they should have that on every
Still with
ship.
those
It would
jokes.
solve every problem.
Becken, there's one problem. They lost all their craft.
I was talking about the first round.
Wait.
And I was talking about instead of those slow-ass ships, have Y-Wings. It's a lot more better.
I think
Because you need like a
the thing with Y-Wings, they went out of commission.
Yeah,
Because
and that is
Y-Wings
why
were...
everybody's so retarded in the Resistance.
The thing is, they went out of commission for the sole... the reason for that is that technologically, they were even slower than those bombers. Because
Not that I remember.
thing is,
You
you don't have a very good comparison, but the ships from Force Awakens up are more agile and faster than any ship even from the original trilogy. And Y-Wings aren't even ships from the period of the original trilogy. They're ships from the period of the Clone Wars. Basically, they are junk ships. No, seriously, they just are. The rebellion didn't produce their ships. They salvaged them in most cases stolen and salvaged.
Yeah, that's what they mostly did.
Except for the A-wings and the Mon Calamari ships.
Well, apparently the X-Wings were also bought from arms dealers.
The X-wings were actually an Imperial project.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds right, but at the same time, it's still retarded. I'm sorry, but everything that you guys are saying is just contradicting what I'm saying. Because like right now, I didn't like that they brought like. First of all, there are so many things in the Last Jedi that I actually despise. Or in the beginning, our
And yet you
cannons
still like the
are
movie.
made to destroy small ships like the X-wings. Well, fat guy, you are fighting the Resistance since probably years. You know that the rebels used in the Galactic Civil War. Why don't you use cannons made to destroy fucking X-wings?
Because
like anti-air.
the thing is,
Great thing to say. Thank you.
Got that movie down to the credits scene, like only 5 minutes to the movie or something like that.
the thing is, with there is a rule with spacecraft in Star Wars. The bigger something is, the less accurate it is. With the exception of the Death Star.
That was accurate as hell. But again, that wasn't really a ship. That wasn't really a ship. That was a space station.
And somehow changing out the clones was a good idea.
Yes, because there were some things that were programmed in them. Even one to kill Sidious. So if someone, if you had abandoned,
why not just create new ones? It's not rocket
because
science.
effort and it's cheap. The thing is, the Empire, after it became the Empire, went with numbers rather than quality. Even if you look at their ships, when you compare them to what the Rebellion used, in the Rebellion you didn't need a full body suit to fly a ship.
That's true, because Skywings were really made with a budget.
Because Sidious, he wagered on intimidation. So
intimidation and overwhelming numbers.
Yes, how to explain it? When you have, let's say, you shoot down 5 TIE fighters, right? And now there are 10 more.
Yeah, that's
wouldn't that? It's basically to drop morale, and in order to keep up and he went very low cost with that, and the same with people.
So bad with those TIE pilots, because the TIEs were not in their favor.
Also, there is a non-canon story where someone actually used the facilities on Camino to create a clone army.
Yes, to fight
that was
against
supposed.
them. I remember that.
Yeah, not to mention, and basically there was even a legion that of clone troopers that disobeyed Order 66 because they thought it was a trick by the separatists.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think.
But basically, after that attack, clones were decommissioned due to the high risk of them acting like droids. Because you could, if you had a very skilled bioengineer on the other side, he could have, created a virus. When they could have infiltrated you basically, instead of putting your whole empire at risk with one location, you just did it regularly with no spot that people could attack that would put out the whole army. Because if they went to Camino and then destroy basically fiddled with all the programming the clones had, they could have just gone and destroyed the whole army.
Okay. I need to add this because we haven't brought up this, and I haven't even thought about it. Where the fuck is the Knights of Ren?
That's actually a good question.
Those were the red guys.
No, that's not true. No. No, they weren't the red guys. I know that for a fact. That they weren't. I know that they they were not dressed like that. They're different. It's not them. That was the Praetorian Guards. They are not the Knights of Ren. I can confirm that. Search it up on Google if you want to.
Huh, I always thought they were.
Other question. It's like out of like Phasma.
I think they will come back in the next episode because now that Kylo is in the Kylo is leading all of that.
Speaking of the First Order's armies, you know what's also quite weird? Captain Phasma. Like she's there at the last possible moment of the movie, and then she dies again.
Well, she didn't die. She was dropped into a garbage, like in the movie. Like
I think she clearly was exploded or something like that.
Yeah, but Kylo made it off somehow.
Yeah, plot holes.
Touche, huh?
Touche.
So yeah. So I'm just saying. It's a lot of plot convenience, but you wouldn't have been able to like. The reason why Luke managed to get off was because of because Luke got off over the Star Destroyer, or not Star Destroyer, the Death Star, was because of the reason that the core was being destabilized. It wasn't destroyed when he was flying off with his dad. It was completely different.
Isn't that the same? But isn't that the same with Starkiller Base? Because they didn't actually hit the core directly.
If they hit the core of the planet, they would have to. Paul Dameron wouldn't have to just shoot at what they were shooting at. He would have to fly down that fucking shot.
Also, I have a question. Why did they put the same weakness into the same weakness they were aware of?
I want you to ask you about one thing. What would happen if a big machine like the Death Star would not have an exhaust port?
That's a good question too.
You should. Okay, there was a weakness programmed into the Death Star that was intentional for the being destroyed.
Yeah.
However, the exhaust port wasn't intended to be connected to the. Wasn't intentionally connected. Shouldn't have been connected to the core itself. At least not directly.
And I gotta ask. Why didn't any one of the engineering team that was creating the Death Star question why are we?
Because they were all killed.
Why didn't we create the yeah, sure, they were killed on the job the second they started to work there. No, they didn't. They had at least a
you need to consider
the schematics were those who actually knew what the fuck.
The people who worked on the schematics died.
Must have seen that there must have been something wrong with it. Like, oh, this gigantic hole is connected to the core.
No.
Anyone could shoot the thing down there. I wonder
the thing
why.
is, it's still an exhaust port. It's not.
Yes, it's an exhaust port, but
it's not supposed to. And
I don't understand how the fuck could they trust the fuck Iron Urso? Why did they trust him? Galen Urso, sorry. Why did they trust him?
If you are faced with an unbeatable enemy and someone tells you, wait, there is a way to beat them, wouldn't you try it?
That is the thing. That was the stupidest thing with the Death Star. First of all, the Emperor should never have put his fucking throne on the Death Star. Secondly,
why not?
He should have had.
That was Death Star 2. He wanted to supervise it personally.
Death Star 2.
On Death Star 2.
I know that was the Death Star 2. You don't need to tell me that. I know. If it was the first one, he would not have succeeded into the 5th and 6th movie. I know.
I mean, why would you question, really? He's the Emperor, for God's sakes. Yes. He is the Emperor. Just do it.
Yes, I agree. You shouldn't question the Emperor, but at the same time, Sidious is smarter than that, though. I mean, sure, but I'd rather because like he didn't have to be there. Like,
well,
he could just disguise himself as a hologram and no one would know the better.
Well, you know what this the Empire, they attack, they protect, but most importantly, the Empire strikes back.
Yeah, fair enough. But basically, I just want to say that it doesn't make that much sense. Well, it kind of makes, but at the same time, it's like questionable. It's like, cause he worked with them before, maybe. He was 80 years old. He doesn't work. Like,
He works.
Sidious was 80 years old when he was like.
9 out of 10 times when he does.
And he just sat there looking at everyone else work. He was a Sith. He didn't have to do
Yeah,
anything.
and that's actually true, because most of the times when something happened, he would either send Vader or some other people from the Empire.
And when he actually got off his ass, it was just to electrocute Luke. Because his father couldn't be asked to finish him off.
It was quite a shocking experience.
Fuck you.
Actually, if that sparks your interest, you should Google it. I think you find the topic electrifying. Yeah, I'm gone. I'll show myself out.
Yeah. Shut up. Did he actually?
No. I just rolled over to my door just to make the sound effect. It's not much comedy here, people.
No, Snoke never got off his ass.
Don't question the Supreme Leader.
The Supreme Leader is dead.
I'm pretty sure.
It
would end up like the same in Korea.
I had a scene in The Last Jedi I really liked. There was a scene I really liked. When that guy, for the last time, that guy actually said something to disobey Kylo Ren. It was like,
I get that he destroyed Alderaan because he knew some of them supported the rebellion, but
the thing is, the Emperor never agreed to destroy Alderaan. It was all Tarkin, and he actually got reprimanded for it. Because he basically rallied any revolt or thought of resistance towards the rebellion.
So why not blow up the most beautiful and most noble planet of the galaxy?
Exactly, that was the problem.
Actually, it's questionable. Naboo is one of the most beautiful.
That was the problem. Tarkin was too full of himself.
I don't think Sidious gave the order to
He did, like I said, he didn't. And like he actually tried to cover it up.
Yeah, really hard to cover up.
He blamed the rebellion for destroying Alderaan. Can you believe it?
Did you know that he blamed Plo Koon because of Order 66? Like, he was one of the reasons. Like, he like blamed Plo Koon for it. He like generally like went down.
You mean Plo Koon, the most pacifist Jedi in existence?
Yeah, but he basically went out and destroyed Plo Koon's memory by saying that he's one of the reasons why we have to do this.
I mean, I really want you to question because
I want to say this. I want to say this about this. When it comes to Sidious, why bring the one Jedi Master which has trained himself in fighting not against one, but multiple enemies at once?
I want you to question is,
you know. Yeah,
here's one of the questions really. Are the Jedi the good guys really? Because they did some questionable things.
The Jedi are good. Better than the Sith at least.
Actually, Jedi are very self-centered.
How about
Sith just because they have cooler abilities?
How about let's think of this. If the Empire wasn't really aimed on taking over the galaxy, if the Sith weren't very aimed at taking over the galaxy, that would sound weird, but
the thing with Jedi is
if they were just there, they would just be people with a different view, really. They would not be part of the Republic, but they would just be.
They would have to be part of the Republic because since the ancient times they declared themselves servants of the Republic.
Wow, I wouldn't call them servants.
They need to think about that. Who is the real bad guy here?
Yeah.
The thing with Jedi is that have you ever heard the term power distance?
No.
The power distance index is basically. Wait, I'll tell you the definition.
Here's also a thing. How about the Sith genocide?
Can I?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Power distance refers to the way in which power is distributed and the extent to which the less powerful accept that power is distributed unequally. Thing is, the Jedi Order, along with this, have one thing in common with the Sith Order. They both were, if you put them up as nationalities, they would both have a very high power distance index. Because they put people up at a pedestal to rule. The Jedi Masters had complete say over, the Council had a complete say over the rest of the Jedi Order, no matter, and they weren't governed by any rules that would apply to everyone. They were above it. They created rules.
Well, at least
even the Jedi Code was created by the first Jedi Council.
Well, we need to think about one thing. We all know that if the Force didn't exist, then the state of the galaxy would be actually much better.
To avoid explanation what makes a high power index society, I'll just note what countries have a very high power index rating that goes from 0 to 100, and those countries are in 90s. And to be said, Poland is in the 60s, above Japan actually.
Right.
The countries that have the highest power index rating in the world are Russia, China, and Mexico.
Seriously, not even America?
America has one of the lowest power index ratings. Even France is somewhere in the middle, and most of Western Europe is in 30s or below.
Oh, that's
along with
fun.
the UK.
That's fun.
So basically, those countries are mainly countries that have pillars of power. Are you familiar with the concept?
Yes.
Yeah, judicial, executive, and so on. Those are that's a thing because in low power index countries, power is something that is governed by rules, and even if everyone who is given power has to answer to the rest of the people, to the rules set by those people. In the high power distance countries, you have people in power say what's right and wrong. There are no rules to govern them.
Well, yeah, the big question is with power is how much power can a person hold before they go insane?
Ask Seth.
That will be fun. Well then.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's one of the biggest differences between the Sith Order and the Jedi Order is that the Sith Order actually doesn't hide behind the rules of morality and stuff, and the Jedi hide behind those rules just to break them. I mean, for example, you have the rule: every evil they commit is for the greater good.
It sounds like that. Like that they're higher than I don't know Korea. Sorry, guys.
And then you have instances like what Obi-Wan did, right? You are from Jedi. There is no mercy killing apparently. I mean, a guy who is going to die anyway. You have the option of making his death quick and painless, or letting him burn to death.
That's questionable.
See?
I mean, like.
So, if I had to answer that question, whether the Jedi are good or evil, I would say they are evil. In the current in the morality used in real world, I mean, because good and evil are
what is evil?
Subjective. It's subjective.
Yeah, of course, it's subjective.
It's subjective because
it's the same with justice, really. Because what is justice but being subjective?
It all depends on the culture you were raised in and the beliefs you were taught.
Finally, we come from Star Wars now, full on politics.
Like, for example, for a Christian, let's say for someone of Christian religion, right?
Oh God.
Killing is wrong.
Of course it is.
No matter what.
Yeah, the
reason
Crusade
killing is.
happened.
Well, they grew up. Let's give them that. They
I,
learned from their
dude,
mistakes.
dude,
Let's go with that. Do
dude,
not angry anyone.
I had a Jehovah's Witness in front of my door, and I kid you not, his name was Christian. Yeah,
Use
Yeah,
that.
we all have that thing, don't we?
But for example, for someone of let's say for what were the there's a specific kind of Baptist in Texas. What were they called? Those guys that stay around with those signs that gay should be dead and so on, right?
Yeah.
In their beliefs, killing someone for being gay or for something that they consider sinful is all right.
If I'm gonna ask you for like really quick here, isn't that Muslims? Like, don't they?
Depends. Really depends. Because there is, I'll call it a view that considers that Muslims is divided into two societies. Basically, the extremists that go around killing everyone, and the pacifist part that actually accepts that you shouldn't kill anyone, that God is the judge of everything, and you shouldn't take his role as a judge.
Fair enough.
That everyone will be judged after death. However, there is another view that just says that if they are so bent on defending that their religion is, basically peaceful, then why aren't they doing anything against their brethren who break those rules?
That's a fair view.
fair.
There's also, but there are many views similar to this. Like, for example, that Poland and Germany never signed a peace treaty.
Well, I'd say with Japan and Russia.
Well, did Poland and Germany after the Second World War sign any treaties? Any at all?
I don't know for certain.
Neither do I.
No.
What I do know is that Russia and Japan also didn't fucking sign a peace treaty, so there's technically World War II is still going on over there.
Not to mention all the things that Germany is still portraying in their museums.
Yes.
Are they? Seriously?
Yeah, they have things that were originally that were taken from Poland, and they have it in most of their museums. But that's a controversial view. Let's not go there. Some people might agree, some might not.
We will not talk about this.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Back to Star Wars. Unless
Back
you
to
want a
Star
different
Wars.
topic.
Unless you want a different topic or end this podcast right here.
I can tell you what I'm currently doing in GTA.
No, thank you. I think we have talked enough. We have no subjects for now, so I think it's best that we end the podcast right here.
Sure, you wanna end this podcast right now?
Well, I'm afraid if we go talking right now, further on, I don't think we will be able to talk for like days on end because we have talked about everything right now.
Okay. Guys, this is probably the end. This seems like this is the end of the podcast. As I said, this is the first one I've ever done. I'm probably gonna end up doing them again. If you guys like this, please leave a comment down below if you guys and tell me what you guys thought about this. And sorry about the sudden spoiler because there will be several spoiler warnings during this video, so I freaking hate myself.
Big spoiler alerts.
Big
Yes,
spoiler
the big
alerts.
spoiler, but I don't need to say that right now. So, but basically, what I'm trying to do is what we're trying to do is we just try to show this. So down below in the description will be my Twitter. If you guys want to go and check that out, you guys are free to do that. If or like, comment, and subscribe. You guys know what to do. And if there is anything else, oh, I forgot. The people I was with here today. Well, you can say you guys' name now.
Yep, me,
Yep.
Irvis, Domini, and also known as Martin.
Mhm.
And me on YouTube, I'm known as Countvonfluff, and I would just like to say that you should always stay fluffy.
So yeah, and we were here with several more people, but they were, well, they don't have a mic, so basically we just leave it like that. But this has been a enjoyable podcast. Wait, hold on, give me a second.
Nail that ending.
I didn't forget you. I told you. I mean, you never said your name.
That would be quite to add to the post, really, all those written comments.
Okay, so we have Utermensch the Destroyer 9000. Okay, that's the third one because I can't
Yeah.
say the word right. It
I
sounds
didn't
like
want to mention her because she has this cheesy name.
Yeah, she has a cheesy name. Yeah, we know it's a female. But anyways, so what I want to say is that this has been really enjoyable. I really liked it, and everything is probably awesome. So yeah.
I can't wait until we do this again, man.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys stay however you want to stay. I don't care. And my name is Bekken, and I'm out.